Have I told you lately that I love you? You guys rock, man. You're right in the center of the action. Yeah? For driving here. Yeah. Like you had a choice. Where are you supposed to go at this point? Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea. That's what we got to do. They're taking ground. We got to take ground.
We got to show them that everything that they do is
take an inch. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Push that in and block shit. As soon as they move and they do the wrong move, they show them. No, they do it this because they got ridicule.
You're awesome. You guys need anything? Are you good? Yeah?
No, we're pretty good.
You're good. Look. Oh, yeah. Hey, there you go. All right. Well, you guys have a great day. We're going to rock and roll. Take care. Thanks for everything, man. We'll go see the ticket, too. I'll show you. See me now. That guy up there is the best. Yeah. Oh, there are lots of people down here.
It's a beautiful thing to see unity, but unity does not
That guy up there is the best. Yeah. Freedom! What is that?
That's a cowbell.
It's literally the cows put that around their necks?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's the original one from Switzerland.
From Switzerland?
Yeah, I have another one at home.
That's a couple of big bells you've got there. All right. All right, we're coming up upon Parliament Hill on the main stage. Hey! I regret to inform you on behalf of the city of Ottawa that we removed all the porta potties. But thank God some truckers decided to bring some for us. Huh? Dude, how long does it take to fill a tank? Jerry cans! Thanks, buddy.
My currency in life. 17 that I sit alone. With nothing more than being a computer screen. Feel that beautiful? A computer screen that is actually making me go blind. I am barely losing my eyesight just from the amount of screen time I spend trying to learn and maintain my pension. It seems as though there is no reason to turn where I can just be happy. I'm stuck between sacrificing either my mental health or my physical health. Does that seem fair to you? People are so afraid to die, but they just stop living. I have a friend who has been isolated at home and living in fear with her family for 2 years. She has not seen anyone in 2 whole years. What do you think that does to a child mentally? Will she ever be the same? He's my age or more at risk of suicide these days with the lockdown and the ever. Adults should be ashamed of themselves. Why does protecting them also mean that kids like me have to give up their entire lives? I'm a volunteer and a soccer player, and I am not voluntary. I have lost my school, I have lost my social life, and I have lost my soul. How much more do you think I can lose? The ounce of hope I have for a normal future is all gone. And what are we without hope? What is left? How is a child supposed to set
I literally can't walk. I mean, we're stuck still on the sidewalks here. This is so exciting to see. I gotta tell you.
My mom asked me what I was doing. And having been all the things
shower, man. It's so cold.
Being a leader means showing up.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be their Woodstock right here.
Standing up for what's right, even if it means sacrificing yourself. Our country needs you now more than ever. You have one chance to turn this around. So show up for your people and your country, or step down as your leader, because you are not going to leave that And last, but certainly not least, I would like to give a special shout out to all the truckers. Beyond this stage today. I would also like to give a shout out to all the fully vaccinated people who are still here fighting for eyewitnesses, thousands of dead bodies. I am nobody's experiment.
Hey, there's Jim.
All of you,
I run into Bruce. I run into you fucking everywhere. I love it, bud. You're the man. That's my buddy Tracy and Attila. That's your Jim Kerr. He's the man, buddy. This guy is the man. You got it, bud.
Gentlemen, it is bumping. It is bumping up here. I've got a very, very special guest. He's coming onto the stage. You all know who he is. You guys may love him. You But I know that he was essential for this movement. Ladies and gentlemen,
Canada to stand in united non-compliance. And before I can go any further, I want you all to thank yourselves for being here, because without you supporting this movement, supporting the truckers, supporting everyone who's been fighting since day one, we would not be here. We would not have this movement. We would not have this power. So
I knew I did that. I'm not calling you.
The importance of what we're doing here today will go down in history as one of the most significant moments in solidarity in human history. For nearly 2 years, I've been doing every single thing in my power, and so have many others, to try to achieve what people thought could not happen. The people coming together, despite of all the ways they try to divide us, despite of all the lies and propaganda. We stand united. We stand strong. And Canada is now the beacon of light and hope and freedom for the entire world. kids would be the ones to dig their feet into the sand and say enough is enough. It's time to take our country back. Our voice has reverberated so far around the world. You see convoys in Australia bearing Canadian flags. You see trucks in the Netherlands bearing Canadian flag. You see the people of Brazil screaming, "Go Canada!" We see freedom rising around the world. The UK, Ireland, Denmark, Switzerland have gotten rid of restrictions. And they're not going to be the only ones. They're going to be the first of many. The domino that started to fall, the tidal wave is coming in, ladies and gentlemen. And it's coming here to Canada. What do we see already? Besides the fact that our fearless leader is nowhere to be seen hiding in a hole, making threats that he can't cash in on. What do we see? Scott Moe in Saskatchewan backing down against the mandates. Jason Kenney in Alberta backing down against the mandates. And why? They're going to say it's because they got Omicron under control. No, it's because we got them under control. Make no mistake, they will keep their foot on your throat as long as you would allow. If we stood idly by, we would be like Quebec, where you gotta go into a jail cell to go to a Walmart. I think, yeah, laugh it up, but that's still part of Canada. That's still our brothers and sisters. We need to get them on our page. We need to bring them into this fold. We need to get them their freedom back. We need to get freedom back for everybody, not just here, but around the world. We are reaching the end of phase 2 of united non-compliance, taking action. And it's going to end with us taking our freedoms back. But we cannot stop there. We got to keep the pressure on, moving into phase 3 of united non-compliance. My personal favorite, holding them accountable. If these politicians think they're just gonna flip-flop and change sides because they've read the writing on the wall and all of a sudden be hailed as heroes, they got another thing coming. If these puppets like Trudeau think that they're just gonna fade off into obscurity so they can pull this shenanigans on us whenever they feel like it, they got another thing coming. We are in a position where we cannot just get our freedoms back. We can reshape our country in a way that makes it better than it ever was. Better than any country in the history of the planet. We have the largest landmass, the most resources, the most diverse population. There is no reason why without the right governance, we cannot have a golden era of Canada where people have so much more than they ever thought possible.
Love you. Hey, Chris Guy, what a great guy. You know, he's done some things, you know, you can't, you know, a lot of people, they like him. A lot of people, they might not like him. He does a lot of things. But tonight we're doing a thing. And I'm so glad you're with us. We've got a couple of guests. I'm going to be speaking with them just here in a few minutes. Listen to Chris Sky here at the Freedom Convoy 2022, man. I mean, this was one of his better days.
God bless their souls. God bless you all. I know you're not doing what you want to do, but they admitted that we had over 2.5 million people in Ottawa. And there was so much love and so much togetherness. I don't even think somebody felt.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you can see their faces now, so I guess the freedom's out of the bag here. Let's introduce our guests here tonight. Wow, I think this is going to be kind of fun because I got some kind of like, I'm going to like just really go 30,000 foot view. I got this like crazy army dude who does like secret things and has done all kinds of stuff that I could never even imagine. And then you've got like a real estate board chick who has done like the financial thing and all kinds of other crazy stuff too. And then you got me who just loves when we all get together. So we're gonna have some fun tonight. Jody Ledgerwood and Ollie Fent, please give us your name.
You can call me Jason.
Jason, Jody, and Jim. That works.
Perfect. Nice to be on with you fellas.
Thank you. You too.
Well, it's great to see you guys. Where are you tuning in from tonight, folks?
So I'm calling in from Cobourg, Ontario, just an hour east of Toronto.
And I'm from up by Sauble Beach on the Bruce Peninsula in Ontario.
All right, we're gonna start Northern Ontario with an arrest. Let's go there, okay? Here we
Who's
go.
first?
I hope.
Quebec, please.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Put your keys on the dash right there.
Do you want to give us some context here, brother?
Sure. So I was just going to let it play out. At this point right now, the window's just been blown out of my side of the car where I sit. I got about 4 guns waving in my face, and they're advising me if I move, they're going to put my head on the lap of Dennis beside me. I informed them in the vehicle I was going dead weight, staying within my jurisdiction. I just say it there.
Yeah, let's hear that because I did hear that actually when I was playing the thing. So let's do it.
I have no warrant and I'm peaceful. I'm peaceful. I'm peaceful. I'm here. Sit down. Sit down.
So I'm transferring 100% liability of my safety onto him now. My will has left my body.
All right. So now this is, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to have a little bit of an intersection between law and those who are playing with what that means in real life. Okay. So, and I'm pretty sure you two would be incredible tag off partners for this one. So Jody, did you see what just happened there? Did you understand what just occurred?
No, it just looked like you were being arrested or being pulled out of your vehicle. There was a big strip across that I couldn't see everything that was happening.
Yeah, I acknowledge, okay. Jody, you don't have a lot of contacts, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what we're going to start with then. How about let's go with when you guys both first heard about the convoy. All right. Let's start there, and then I'm gonna find another video for you.
Okay. So when I first heard about the convoy, I believe it was either Chris Barber or Bridget Belton's TikTok that I saw. And I immediately joined the conversations, joined the meetings in the background. I was part of the beginning. I think I dropped out of the meetings probably around meeting 5 or 6, maybe 7. And I got in touch with Samantha Denuzzo in Toronto, and both her and I decided to do a convoy in Toronto and shut down the streets in Toronto on the 23rd to commemorate the truckers leaving from BC. But when I heard about the convoy, I was not prepared to go. I thought it was going to be a trap and an easy way to get everybody in the freedom movement that were considered leaders all in one space and arrested to shut down the freedom movement and the momentum that we were growing here in Toronto, as well as what Vancouver was growing. So I had decided that some of the leaders need to stay back. So Samantha Denuzzo and I actually ran some convoys in Toronto and shut down the Gardiner Expressway and Lakeshore Boulevard in commemoration and celebration of the truckers that were starting out on the 23rd. But lo and behold, as fate would have it, Michael Bader reached out to me and asked me to lead the Hamilton convoy going into Ottawa. Janet Cito and Chris Guerra got a hold of me and asked me to help them with Adopt a Trucker. Sandy Sabo of Take Action Canada reached out to me and wanted me to go up and help command. So with all these people reaching out and saying, you need to be there, we need your help, I decided to go, and I led the convoy behind the blue truck of Hamilton right into Cobourg. And then I turned around with my friend Honey Andrews, and we went back to Whitby to pick up her stuff. And then we ended up catching the Toronto convoy to Ottawa. So I got to participate in 2 of the convoys that went to Ottawa. And January 27th, Honey and I landed at the Swiss Hotel and basically didn't leave till the middle of March.
Whoa, dude. I mean, for real. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to go right now. There's so many different ways. I'm looking at 2 so differently diverse personalities, and I'm wondering how to approach it. I almost want to take it from the one who has been abused by the law the most. Kind of explain how you got to where that was. Now, I'm wondering if either of you might know who I'm referring to at this point.
Not really sure.
All right, nuclear army. Let's get into that a little bit. All right. Talk to me about your background, brother. We've done things with Jody before, but nobody knows who you are, and I'm fascinated.
Yeah, that's one of the neat things about it when I got involved was that I'm from an element within our infrastructure protection network that nobody really knows about. And I'm from a sub-element within that even fewer know about that exist. So I became a soldier as a kid, young man at age 19, age 32, September 11th hit. And I was recruited by a private security organization here in Canada called Globra Security Services, run by former SAS operative named Alan Bell. Once I went through that selection process and got into the unit, I then was selected again to be one of the first 5 Canadians in 2005 sent to the United States to be trained as a mock terrorist for the Department of Energy and CNSC to do threshold testing on our nuclear infrastructure. I was a team leader in that for about 4 years. So when the movement, I became aware that something was not right. I was a canary in the cage, and I started noticing things around 2016, but it wasn't to the degree that anybody would really follow me. And it wasn't until the summer of 2019 I became acutely aware through a pattern of things that I was observing that we were heading for something. When the warnings in late 2019 came out about the virus and all of that, I was at a point of 75% certainty we were heading for something, and I became active then. And so when I entered into the network of the freedom movement, if you will, there was people that had established platforms like yourself, and nobody really knew of the unit I was from or the skills that I came to the table with. One individual from the movement.
I want to just for brevity's sake, and it's my fault for not prepping you on the front end. But brother, let's talk about the convoy, because I know that you've done a lot of things. I mean, we could get into all of it, but let's talk about the convoy. How you heard about the convoy? I mean, you were there. Let's talk a little bit about that.
2021, I reopened my Facebook account, became active on a tangent matter that I was a parallel and tangent matter that I was addressing against the nuclear industry, and I became connected with Kellyanne Wolf. She was in some fear from where she was going, and I saw it as an opportunity to enter and network within the movement at a strata that was certainly higher than where I was. And I maintain throughout that I'm an independent individual. I'm a free man. I function in grace, and I don't. I got my own label, my own brand. I represent myself, and I stick to people that I think are true, are dedicated to working grace. And Jim, when we first met, number one priority, I think you'll acknowledge on the bus, was grace. My priorities were to make sure that the movement never had been baited into violence. So I was into counter psyops, identifying behaviors in advance of, because I have awareness of how they would counter us, which whatever I could contribute so that we could push back in a way that was fun, that was difficult for them, and they knew I was there. Clearly,
brother.
You look at that.
The thing is, if you haven't seen this man in person, you wouldn't know. He's like 6'20", you know, and he's such a gentle giant. And to see him get arrested and being totally compliant throughout the process, which is what we're watching back here. If you're looking at the video, this is him getting arrested, being very compliant. He knows the law better than so many, and this is something that both Jody, that we all have come to know more recently. But man, you guys are both way out of my depth when it comes to understanding the law. So can we talk a little bit about kind of whether, well, now that we found out that the trucker convoy, it has not been lawful, or like it was accused of not being lawful, but that was not a lawful call. Like it was lawful the whole time. So, I mean, how does this impact things? How does this?
Well, this, for anyone who was hurt, injured, had their bank accounts frozen due to the Emergency Act supposedly being called and the riot police coming in, this opens the door for massive lawsuits against the people who infringed upon your rights to peacefully protest. And we know that there is currently some, I guess there's a gathering of applicants for a bunch of civil suits that will be going on, which you can email at injured.emergencies.act.org, I think it is, or .com. TAPCAN, anyway, is the website, tapcan.org, that you can go on and you can register to become an applicant. Now, we only have like a week to 2 weeks to file your civil complaints or your civil statement of claims in order to join this lawsuit, because there is a statute of limitations, that comes into play, which is only 2 years. So we got very lucky with Judge Mosley's coming to his decision before that 2-year statutory limitations was up. So this opens
only a couple of weeks, like 2-3 weeks, right? Like that's it.
That's it. But what it also does is, we know that the residents of Ottawa also have a lawsuit against the organizers of the convoy. And this almost makes their lawsuit irrelevant or null and void. If it wasn't deemed illegal, then we had every right to be there. And they're going to be hard pressed to find any sort of tape that shows that it was a violent protest, or that the residents of Ottawa were severely impaired by us being there.
Wow. So would that mean that the arrest that we just saw online here, that we would have a cause for that?
You got it. You got it. You should be contacting these lawyers and adding your name as an applicant.
Well, it's so. This brings me back to one of the reasons why I became involved and active in the way I am with the skill set that I have. In 2019, the Canadian flag was removed from a theater of representation that we know the court as the court. The Canadian flag is a binding element in that theater. If the flag is not present in the pole position to the left of the judge as you look at him, our Constitution has no representation present, therefore no binding obligation. The corporate equity shield is present above his head, and that binds him. So what I'm going to suggest to you, that Treasury Board Act, which is the Policy on Communication and Federal Identity, Section 2.2, details how the Treasury Board President and the Minister of Finance directed in August of 2019, when it was modified, to have that element removed from our court, as well as the bar. So when you go to a courthouse and they do that search on you on entry, they're removing your presumption of innocence so that they can police you in a limited capacity therein past that point. You're presumed innocent until found guilty. But if you go and you submit to that search and consent to it and don't challenge that, you've been coerced into that consent, then they have you on actus reus for being possibly, definitely consenting to be a possible threat once past that point. So all these things have been set up to limit us in our capacity under rule of law and remove our common standing. And Section 8.1 in our Interpretation Act very clearly around property rights states that the civil and the common law process have equal recognition of authority. You're not educated to speak to the common process. A jurisdiction's applied, a control of expression. They come to you and say, "Excuse me, sir, you've consented to a title." If they say, "Oh, it's a privilege to be Canadian," you've said that you're consenting to being in that limit. If I gift you a chainsaw, you're not obligated to butter your muffin in the morning with it. You use it when necessary and when applied. When I, as a Canadian soldier, would operate a piece of land overseas to sleep on, we would raise the Canadian flag because we were under the Constitution in that theater. If we ran up a cloth with the corporate shield on it, we would have been saying we're there in equity, and that would have been a war crime. So in that arrest, well, that goes back to the arrest. I'm already aware that I'm in a losing battle before the courts. I'm fighting an enemy that controls 30% of the power of province of Ontario, world's largest nuclear power plants, committing human rights against people, ran the hockey helmet vaccinations against all of Ontario, vaccinated over 400,000 people. And if you just look at a conservative guess of 9% vaccine injury, it's quite scary, the casualty rate that they did. That's we're wondering whether it's even more.
Oh, 100% it's more. And they knew, if you had a chance to look at the Pfizer contracts, right in the Pfizer contracts, Pfizer says there is no proof that this is more effective, we're going to stop transmission. And our Canadian government, more specifically Anita Anand, signed to that. And on top of that, agreed to tie all of Canadians' dollars to an experiment that was neither proven nor safe nor effective in anything that they were doing, and also agreed that should it come to fruition later on that it wasn't safe or effective and it was killing people, Canadians' dollars still had to pay for the purchase orders that the Canadian government tied us to.
This is what I'll suggest. This is what I'm going to suggest to you that I notice as a pattern in the conduct of the systems I've been participating in. In my separate parallel matter, I noticed right away they were cooking off a timeline for my ability to report to the Human Rights Commission. You got 1 year, and they were wasting time in investigations to get me as close to that threshold and then claim under 41E of the Act I couldn't do nothing. Well, what you just suggest, what you unpacked when you talked about when Mosley made his decision, everything in front of that was a deliberate theater meant to suck time. And so now we have a 2-week window, and they know that. So everybody's going to run to a lawyer because nobody knows how to fill out the forms. And when you run to a lawyer in a class action lawsuit, you're being herded. And whatever one gets, all gets. If one fails, all fail. And it's going to be done. I suggest you to consider it's going to be done in a theater with no representation of your Constitution to be measured against, and equity will take a priority.
Right. Well, I know that they haven't quite decided if they're doing class action or a bunch of individual lawsuits, but crowdfunded under the same law firm.
It's a win-win for the system, because if they do a bunch of individual, you'll be dead before anything comes. It's going to be like First Nations fighting for land. It's so vast, and they knew it. They knew it when they did it.
So what you're saying here is that the whole game is, it's not whether or not somebody actually did what was right. or what was wrong, or whether or not they even got found out that they did what was right, what was wrong, if they can put it off for long enough, it doesn't matter because they're going to get their way.
Well, they're gaming the system, and they're going to subdue us through all the inconveniences that are a result of it to compromise our position, and we're going to end up with less than where we started at the beginning of all this, no matter what. Our currency's failed. And if you want me to get really weird for you, I'm going to tell you that I believe the Queen was either perceived to be dying or dead before this happened. Because O'Toole was pitching Kanzuk in 2016, and I don't know how he got that.
Before what happened? Let's back this up just a little bit. I'm all about all the different things, man. But you know, we gotta.
Every 50 years, because of the oath that the fraudulent oath that the Queen took, she didn't take it correctly either. There's at 50 year at the Jubilee, all mankind are to return to their property and their families in possession. It's the Jubilee. And you'll find that in the oath under Deuteronomy and also in Numbers.
Yeah, biblical stuff. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and that's the recognizing the authority of God part of your charter recognition. Now, without getting too weird about it, the currency is now it's collapsing. Our currency is collapsing. There's a transition and there's a tug of war between whether we're going to go gold or whether we're going to go digital. And I don't know where we're going to end up, but all of this is meant to distract you while they move around the beans on the abacus above your head, the hidden hand shuffling everything around. And that's what it is. They're programming us to not even worry or be upset about the fact that our flags were moved off the PMO's office where all business for the country is being decided. A representation of binding on the firmament of the edifice that he works, the bobbiest shell that he works in, removed all representation of our Constitution from it and replaced it with something else. And under the National Flag Act of 2012, they can't do that. There's a reason. It wasn't for feng shui. There's always a reason why they do that.
Yeah, we just did a two-part show on what's going on with the UBI, the CBDC, the IMF, and the BIS. Our third part is being released this coming Thursday on tfmreport.com. So if you don't know what's going on with the money system, definitely check that out. But Basel III was released last week, Monday, which is basically all the money systems going to an asset-backed system. Basel IV is coming out in April, so you might want to make sure you don't have money sitting in the banks, because the moment you put it in as of 2016, your money is no longer your money, it belongs to the bank. And when the governments switch over, or the world banks and all that switch over to asset-backed banking, the banks will take your money in order to buy more gold and silver, which if anybody's been watching the banking system, that's exactly what the banks have been doing. They have been buying gold and silver right, left, and center, because that's the only way they're going to be able to stay in business once it flips entirely into the asset-backed system. If they don't have the assets, they go bankrupt, which means you don't have any money, which means the government can then roll out their universal guaranteed livable income, because everybody will be dying to buy bread for their table and feed their children. So you'll gladly take the government's money. We know the regulators are right now writing the regulations for the UBI, and those regulations will eventually come out that you will have to participate in their vaccine experiments in order to get your guaranteed livable basic income. And then that will gradually roll you into the CBDC system, which will also roll you into the carbon credit and social credit system. And people need to understand this is a giant ass domino effect that's happening.
Okay,
I believe,
because all of these things haven't yet happened to their fullest fruition, I would suggest that it's all still a theory. And regardless of who it's been put out by, and regardless of who buys it, it's still the future anyway. The future rolling out of this, we don't know because we're not there. It can go any which of many ways. There is a narrative, there's a counter narrative, and there's a whole bunch of different gray areas in between. I tend to kind of like to focus on what we can do about where we're at from the lessons that we've learned. So based on the fact
to that point, Jim.
Okay.
To that point, I'm going to suggest you to consider that 2008 to 2011 was actually a global rehearsal hoisted by the economics and it was a measurement was done through 3 experiments between, I think it was Venezuela, Iceland for sure, and Greece. And they played out, they played that out, and they played other tendrils of this theater out through the reharvesting of above ground gold through the Cash for Gold scan that they did. They only paid for your gold. They got all your silver in your 10K gold, which was, what is that? 58% of the weight is silver on a 10K item. Right. And silver went from like $12 an ounce to $47 an ounce in that timeline. It was a brilliant scam. And it was all the harvest of above ground metal. Right? Pardon me?
That was when they were trying to corner the silver market, yeah.
Yeah, I think the 5-year projections on silver sit at $1,500 an ounce, which makes sense because in Roman times, a dime represented a man's wage for a day to sustain him and his family. If you put that on universal basic income on a 10-hour day, you're looking at $15 an hour, right? Yeah. So I knew that since 2000. I've known that my whole fucking life. So it was kind of funny because in 76, when Trudeau's father brought us into fiat, it was all with intention of this moment right now.
Right here.
They knew
this was a long plan, a long time plan. That's for sure.
Even longer than that. I could take you back to 3200 BC, but I'm not gonna.
I was going to say, I've only gone as far back as 1953 to the World Population Conferences and following and reading all those documents and agreements. But if you follow the Khazarian Mafia and all that sort of jazz all the way back, then
you're
deeper
right. Than that. It goes like
Khazaria. Hundreds of centuries.
Yeah, Khazaria is 600 BC. Like the first written vowel L was the letter I, and that's one of identity. And whose favorite sin is vanity? And I could go on from there, but I'm going to tell you right now, this term jurisdiction that they apply on you, the letter J wasn't even created until 1524. So the supremacy of God part that you try to interpret is set. The post is hammered in the ground at 1524. And you need to be able to go to the root, because when they claim whether you're enlightened or not, they want to know how much you know past that post, I suggest.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, it's all documented. It's all over the government websites. Like, none of this is a conspiracy theory or maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. It's actually on our federal government websites. You just got to plug in the right words and bam, everything comes up. The agreements come up, and you just trace it through. And each agreement refers to another agreement, which refers to another agreement, which refers to another agreement. Good thing I like to read.
My Indian ancestors never signed no contract or treaty to Rome. The very word Indian means Indian. Dion Kecht. That's an Irish god that's related. It's under Luch, and Luch is Lugal Zagzi from Mesopotamia. And once you learn to unpack these words and understand, crucifix is a leg, a missing leg, just like Gilgamesh tore the leg off of the ox and threw it at Ishtar's feet. Crux I fix. Religion, re-leg I on. The song remains the same. How you interpret has changed. Disney's doing this.
Okay, hold on. Just back up just a little bit, okay? You know,
let's get back to Convoy.
It reminds me of Convoy. It reminds me of being in court when they use all these words that I don't understand, you know? You're talking way over my head, man. I gotta tell you.
Well, and that's what judges do.
I know.
It's called orbiter dicta. The term that they apply is called orbiter dicta, and they pull you in there and they start talking and they steer that conversation. They make that flow go, and anything you don't catch, you consented to, and if you didn't catch it, you're ignorant, and that's no excuse.
So hold on.
If you say you're human, you're declaring you're enlightened, and that can be tested. If you say you're natural, it's obvious and common sense kicks in.
Okay.
And if you say you're civil, you're ignorant or entitled.
So, yeah, okay. Let's just talk about that for a little bit, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a very esoteric, I wouldn't say I'm discussing anything. I'm sitting here being gobsmacked by it all. But we're having a very esoteric discussion about some kind of like real world things.
Jurisdiction.
Okay, sorry?
It's about jurisdiction. It's about your first contact. All that arrest, going back to that arrest, as long as you can stay in a capacity, and it's not hard to do, truth takes few words. Don't say nothing. Don't do nothing. Let your will leave your body. They're going to take you someplace. There's nothing you can do to stop it. When they close that cell door, you say one time, I want a King James Bible. If they don't give it to you, perfect. When they roll you in a chair because you're not going to walk in front of a judge for Zoom, you tell the judge exactly what went down and you were denied a process of law. That's it. They should be letting you go at that point. And if they're not, they're going to immediately begin to coerce you. And you got to start thinking, replaying in your mind, up to that point, where did you consent?
And consent is implied if you don't say anything, is what you're saying.
Only if you don't catch the way they speak to you.
When
so if they say, sir, you just say, well, sir, can you sit up, sir, so we can carry you? And if you even sit up, you've consented to the title and you've acquiesced.
That's why you did dead weight thing. Is that why you did the dead weight thing?
Yes. You announce dead weight, and then you reinform them that you're in your jurisdiction and you're not committing to any capacity of title. If they try to apply pressure point control tactics, because they will, they're going to squeeze your thumb like this. They're going to work the cuffs on your wrists. Yeah, and if they do any of that stuff, it's to make you flinch because the optics that they have then is that you're resisting.
Yeah, they said don't resist while they're sitting there busting my thumb.
Yeah, and so the counter that you have to that, Jim, is you're cognizant that that's going to happen when you're dead weight, is the second they apply it, their cameras are rolling too. And you talk their language. I'm dead weight, I'm in my jurisdiction, I'm peaceful, and you're applying pressure point control tactics to my thumbs, right? Be specific. And the guy who's doing it to you is going to it's going to be obvious when they replay it in court because he's going to let go of you like you just put 220 through him.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's something that you guys certainly have in common in that Jody, she has done a similar thing, only not maybe under the threat of physical violence, but rather under the threat. Well, no, they would have removed us from many of the places that we were at, Jody. So, I mean, you do it with documents that are kind of like
the legislation, the acts, the bills, yeah. Because
so a civil process.
Yeah, they don't know how to interpret the bills, and they'll start. Well, you saw it, Jim, in the Center Mall, September 22nd, 2021, when we were together, and they tried to make us show vaccine passports in order to eat in the mall. And I pulled out that legal package I had, and I just started boom, 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 and everything they came at me with, I had a response for that. They just couldn't beat me because I understood the law and I understood how to interpret it. And when I pulled out the papers and allowed them to read it, they could not argue me because they couldn't argue what was in black and white in front of them. And we ate our lunches and we walked away with no arrest.
So you're familiar with Rizzo v. Rizzo Shoes Limited as a case, as a cited case? Okay, so that basically the part in that case that's really relevant, Supreme Court ruling, is that words matter. No word is applied in law by mistake, right?
Correct.
So Section 7 of the Charter says everyone, one word, has right to life, liberty, and security of the person. But your criminal code summary offense says every space one without lawful cause or lawful excuse. The lawful excuse is the capacity, and the one is the digit, your registered number, your birth number. So every one in the criminal code is not written the same and reflected and interpreted the same as every one at the beginning of Section 7 of the Charter. Section 7 of the Charter speaks to both capacities. Job 32:21, man's person with an apostrophe S. Let no title be put upon man's person. In our Constitution, and I put my life on the line for it willingly and enthusiastically, to have you have that right, matter to matter. And you're not taught in school. No. A teacher will teach a child how to participate in the system and not unpack any of it. Go out in the parking lot, get in an accident, hire a lawyer to speak for them because they're fucking ignorant.
Yeah. But
they can take an informed consent on whether a child's gender should be held from their parents or whether they should vaccinate. It's dictional nonsense. Yeah. Trans rights are not human rights. Trans unpacks as a cross beyond and opposing. You cannot say you're outside a cross and opposing. Any capacity is jurisdictional fucking nonsense. Same thing as the corporation called Trans Canada. Oh, that owns all your nuclear power plants and run.
Okay, so I just want to just bring it just a little bit back to this language is very important. What we're talking about here is common law. Okay, folks, if you want to research something, research common law or natural law. Okay, it basically, if I could maybe bring it down a little bit, it's basically us just saying, look, I am a being that came out of my mama's whatever, fell on the ground, and as a result, I have inalienable rights to be here. I don't need to pay to be on this ground that I landed upon. Okay, I came here, and nobody owes me anything. I don't owe anybody anything. And depending on the language you use, you can get yourself in a whole bunch of trouble in not a lot of time. Which is why we, say that you should probably use lawyers if you're going to go through the legal system. However, common law believes, at least in some cases, that you don't have to go through that system. I'm
not against using lawyers, but I am against people ignorantly giving up their rights.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
when they
you're
roll
right.
up on you, it's
important.
something ridiculous. I endorse that you stay in your jurisdiction absolutely as long as you can. You fucking bleed that system. The machine moves slow. It bleeds two things: time and money. All right. So you stick your fangs into it and you suck on it until it fucking bleeds. And then when they do put full coercion on you, you pull out your vitamin short of coercion,
All right,
get them lawyer up, and that lawyer is going to look forward to having a good chunk of change representing you on that matter. It made it easy.
The legal things drive me nuts. I think it's just ridiculous. It sucks my life and my time and my money and my spirit, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I don't know how many things I got for whatever, and I'm going to pay for it someday, and it drives me nuts.
There's a term in the Army called embrace the suck. What that basically means is once you get comfortable in that suck and you can exist in it, they got to come in and get you. And when they do, you wrap your legs around them, you hold on to, and you make them sit in that dog shit with you. As long, because you're comfortable, you're fine.
Okay. I think I understand what that means. I mean, I'm not sure in application it draws all kinds of, visions.
Well, you don't get into a fight. We're in a fight. You don't pick a fight without expecting to get a punch in the nose at some point, right?
Exactly. Get comfortable with the pain. Get comfortable with the pain, and then you'll be fine. They can't beat you if you're comfortable in misery, right?
Oh,
basically,
okay.
Or you have a plan. You always have a step to go to, a position to fall back on. It's
for sure.
Embracing the suck is familiarizing yourself with the terrain and finding 100% that you can max out of it, and where they're not. They're just trying to suck wind.
Talk about sucking wind. This is happening right about today, a couple of years ago, and this was the big gap that the police had created between the main happenings right at the Parliament buildings and then the other section. So these guys were just holding territory here. This is what's called a hard block, ladies and gentlemen at home. It prevents any vehicles from coming through. So they created hard blocks so that they didn't have to have personnel to block off us making future advancements. We'll kind of let you in on this a little bit. And now the cops come in filling in gaps. Man, we could have been so much more assertive.
So the police seem to be moving in more vehicles now. There's a lot of officers here.
It's so funny because they talk about us blocking the roads, but we never blocked the roads. We always left a laneway open. It was the police that blocked the roads. And I think I have some videos of them actually dropping the cement blockades down so that people couldn't get through. That wasn't us. That was all the police.
Yeah.
Very effective.
So they're planning the flow for when they do a push. So they're staging the flow.
Yeah.
And they already know the tributaries and streets are going to push people down, and they have it pre-staged about how they're going to manage everybody when they push them out. On that arrest I was in, we were en route on the morning of the 18th to get to the War Monument to actually provide medical relief to people.
Yeah, I've got that video actually. I saw that video today. I'm sorry. But
Wow, eh?
it's amazing to me the depths that different people went to in order to just come down and show support for fellow Canadians. And none of us has similar backgrounds. Like, I mean, like, it's not like we were all friends and we said, let's go. It was just like a bunch of random humans, you know, and
we only knew each other for 2 months by that time.
Well, yeah, that's true.
We had been through so much.
Right? You were at Bear Hug 1.0. That's when you give me the big sweater, the Irish. Yeah, I remember.
So all three of us were at Bear Hug?
Pardon me?
All three of us were at the Bear Hug in December?
Yeah.
That's right. You did come, Jody. That's right.
Yes,
we were there.
I did. Froze my ass off for a week. Brought all the hockey equipment and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my
Remember
God.
dancing in the streets in front of Trudeau's home, blocking off that road and just having a party? That was amazing.
That was an evolution in chaos, really. I thought I showed up at some church in the middle of Kingston, and I was derelict, and there's bouters there and everybody, and next thing you know, I'm a security advisor. Whoa! Everybody slow down. I got some good ideas, but I ain't putting that hat on and running out front yet. What? Like, how many people you expected? Thousands. Where are you going to put them? I don't know. What? Hang on, man. With toilets, do we got toilets? They're going to starve us on infrastructure any way they can. We're going to need garbage facilities, toilets, because they're going to call us a burden as fast. But apparently, James, to his credit, or whoever coordinated for Convoy 2, took care of all of that. That came up as a talking point. I was really proud to see that infrastructure was put in place down there at Confederation Park, because that was impressive. That was a great.
I want to speak some well over some of the people that have decided that they're not going to come on the show for one reason or another. James Bowder being one of them. He was one of the central tenants in the Bear Hug 1.0 that we all got up there behind. We thought the idea, honestly, I loved it just because he called himself Canada Unity, and I thought that Canada needed to unite. I thought it then. I think it now. I believe it wholeheartedly. I think it's the entire point of this exercise. Us doing this is not just to look at the footage that happened and went, wow, that was great, but rather to understand what we did then, who we were, how we showed up, and how we helped each other so that we can do this and duplicate it, not necessarily in a big rally kind of platform in Ottawa, but man, we can, it's one of the things I shout outs to Jody that I've really, I a lot of kudos to, is she has gatherings where people get together face to face. And because that's the way you can really communicate, this is, I love that you guys came. Thank you very much. Every single one of our guests. Thank you. But there's nothing like FaceTime, man. There's nothing like really being with each other,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's where you get to meet each other, like really get to know each other, not just talk to each other for 2 seconds and move on. You actually get to like eat and have real conversations and hug and smile and laugh and cry together. Can't do that over Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you, that's one thing. There's a clip of me, Viva Frey, interviewing me the day before the gates went down at the monument. And I was talking to him, and I had an emotional moment when I was talking to him. And I've never in my life been struck in, like, just walking 3 blocks uncontrollably overwhelmed with emotion. The energy in the air was that thick. I never felt anything like it before. And I've been in some wild moments, and it was reassuring. It was reassuring at that particular time to see all those people gather, the effort that they made to gather and care. It was powerful. And man, it pushed everything over the fulcrum point around the world.
Yeah.
One of the things I like, to go back to that word unity that they used. I like that. I was actually trying to confirm whether some of the people that were using it were able to. You see, in the Bible, the word
actually
world,
do it.
The word world unpacks as cosmos with a K, and if you take it from that,
standing outside,
unity and an association. That root of origin of the conduct, like the etymology of it all.
Well, here's what I know. When we work together, things get easier. When we're fighting each other, they get harder. That's it. That's all. To me, it's pretty simple. Look, if we're all on the same team and if we're in the under $10 million club, okay, I would suggest that if we're under $10 million, I would even take 10 million a year. I think we could even go that high. I don't think they're corrupted yet. Okay. If we're all in the same boat, man. They're coming for us. Every single one of us, because they're not going to need us, man. It's an AI world. Dude, as weird as that sounds, that's where it's going. That's what they're talking about. So now, if we have any kind of leverage with anything that we have, we need to do something different. We need to come together. We need to help each other. We can't look at all the things that are wrong and start bitching about it, man. We got to look at what works, how we can recreate it, and how we can leverage it to do better things in the future, man.
Exactly. But not only that, we have to figure out what our common goal is and what our future looks like. And on day one, when we win, what is happening day one? Because if you don't have a day one plan, the United Nations just comes back in and jumps back on their horse because they've been planning this for centuries. So we need
Okay. You're right. All right. So do we get into the municipality talk, like the engagement in municipal politics and all that? Like, I mean, where do we go with that?
Standing outside.
I think one of the things that Jody brought up about the common objective part, I want to go back to that flag thing on that. Because if you don't care the flags in your court, like you're begging. You're literally begging for mercy where you should have standing.
You're literally talking about having the Canada flag flown in the court in which you are attending under some matter. Is that correct?
I can't hear you, Jim.
Sorry, brother, that the sirens just kept going and going. Are you saying that if they don't fly a Canada flag in the court, then it's like a kangaroo court? It doesn't matter? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that it's the kin that if you weren't in the court, the judge would just give a discretion, and it would be in position of whatever they want. If it's not there, it's not binding.
They make a decision whether I'm there or not. Is what you're saying?
They'll make a ruling if you don't show up or put a warrant out for you. They'll do something in your absenteeism. The fact of the matter is every element in that court has a binding obligation on everything and everybody in it. They wear robes for a reason. They dress the way they do for a reason. They sit and stand, and all the furniture is there it all has a purpose. And it has a deep resonance, and acts and motions and words define reality.
Gentlemen, welcome to downtown Ottawa.
If you consent to that element being missing there, ignorance is no excuse. You're just standing there saying, okay. So all it takes, you want to see a unity action. If everybody in every courthouse region just sent one or two a day, and before session started said, excuse me, can you explain to me why the flag isn't there? And if we could ever tease out of them that it's because of the directory board president, you got him. Jordan Peterson is going through this right now.
The directory board president is?
Pardon me?
Jody? I'm asking Jody because I'm not familiar with many of these terms.
Anita Arand. It's Anita Arand now. She left the Ministry of National Defense and transitioned into the Treasury Board. Bill Blair moved from his position up into Anita's.
Yeah, they keep moving everybody around to keep everybody confused on who's doing what or who did what, who's responsible.
Right. Okay. Well, you know what? I think we kind of went way off track tonight. I do want to talk at least a little bit about the Freedom Convoy here, folks. I mean, it was stimulating as hell. I hope other people enjoyed it. I was having fun. Ladies and gentlemen, so the Freedom Convoy was something we were there a month before it actually happened. And then when it actually happened, we have a lot of memories for it. I'd like each of you to unpack for me, please, if there was one memory that really stood out to you from the convoy that happened to you personally, what would that be? What was something that just really it surprised the heck out of you, or it just capsulized it in your mind for you? You know what I mean?
Oh man, there are so many memories and so many amazing people that we met. You know, working at command was incredible. Working in the kitchen by myself, feeding 60 to 80 people, having people go shopping for me was amazing. But what I guess what will really stick with me is most of the time I didn't get out on the streets until late in the evening, like midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, because I spent all day cooking in the kitchen and cleaning, except for on the weekends when I spoke on stage. But there was one night I was walking through the streets and I was by myself, and I'm only 5'3" in height. I'm about 130, 140 pounds. So I'm not a big girl by any means, but this is the safest I've ever felt ever in my life. And I was walking down the street and I ran into this French gentleman. His name was Michel. And I just started talking to him. And he started pointing out all of the signs that he, with his own money, had made and brought down and hung up everywhere. And every day he thought of a new sign and he'd go and have it made and hang it up somewhere. But not only that, he brought out, I asked him why he was here, because he just lived in Quebec and yet he was living on the street here, and he had a home and all of that, but he was living on the street. And he said his intention was just to come for the weekend, and he had decided to stay right till the very, very end. Reason being, and he pulls out this box and it's full of all these letters. And one of the letters he pulled out was a 2-year-old's hand. It was a handprint on a piece of paper, and it said 2-year-old, and I can't remember the little child's name. And then on the back, it was this mom talking about giving birth to Daniel, that was his name, giving birth to Daniel in 2019, and how she never thought she'd be bringing up her child in this kind of oppressive state. Thank you for giving me hope and Daniel's future hope again. And the two of us just started to cry, and I'm not very often lost for words, but I was definitely lost for words. And I was doing a live at that time, and that moment will stick with me forever, because it captured the whole essence of why we were all there, and withstood those minus 30-degree temperatures, and withstood the violence of the police, and kept going back. It was because of that box of joy and love and hope. It was amazing. That will stick with me forever.
All right, Jody, thank you so much. What do you think, brother?
Myself? Hello?
Absolutely you, man.
Oh,
You're
okay.
man.
I think the most dynamic day for me, I'm not talking about the arrest part, was February 5th. February 5th, a lot of things made me understand that the game was going to change a whole lot and real fast. There was the counter-protesting started at that point. Assets from the police were being diverted in order to accommodate that. That meant there was planning in advance of it. There was the collapse of the Confederation Park. That was interesting for me to unpack, the optics of that. And then the speech made by that one chief that spoke at the park, where he suggested that we drag the whole camp down the river and up a hill. The second I heard that, I questioned his leadership skills. I questioned his loyalty, and I questioned the logic to exhausting everybody in such a fruitless attempt to distract us on ice, and then dragging wooden shacks up a pitch that's the same as the roof of the Parliament. It was a ridiculous concept to even conceive and project to the crowd. So I felt that at that point, everything was going to immediately start to break off into individual shades, and we were going to start getting picked off one after another. I knew the end was coming within 14 days of that time. I was very aware of it. So then it just became a point from that point on of noticing all the little subtleties, and then what are the reasons to it. So February 5th was a big critical time for me that told me a lot of things at one time.
Man, you definitely saw way more than I did, man. I thought it was going to end every single day. Every single day. I'm like, they're coming around the corner, man. I see them, oh boy, they're gathering again. They're coming to get us. And I'm watching the video now, and now I kind of understood what happened. I know more about police tactics than I ever would have had any interest in my entire life, just because we were put in this situation where regular citizens had to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah, well, they were doing the same thing you were doing. They were pushing the envelope as much as we were, and everybody was being awfully lawful at one time, except we made them cross the line first. You want to prove there's a tyrant? You make them demonstrate that they're a tyrant. You stand in front of them and you boldly challenge them to show their tyranny while you stand in grace, and they will 100% of the time. They can't resist.
Well, they did. They 100% did. I know my eyes felt their tyranny. That's for sure.
Oh, you got tyrannized from the tearing gas?
I most certainly
I smelled the
did.
cordite in the barrel of the gun.
Yeah, you felt it too, between the batons and the cold and the pepper spray and the being smushed in the crowds and thrown off the walls and having our assets literally destroyed right in front of us. We definitely.
And I'm so proud. I'm so proud of all those people that stood in that police line and did not lose control. I mean, that was a chaotic line. There was no central leadership there.
We're downtown Ottawa here.
Hold on, I'm pulling up that footage for you. Yeah. Oh no, this is a different one. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Yeah, there was, as he was saying, there was no central leadership. We all just continued to pray and continued to sing and continued to plead with the police to please do the right thing and come on side and honor your oath to the people. And we all did it, and nobody threw a punch and nobody fought back. We stayed peaceful.
Boy, we're going to get to some of that footage too, man. We've got some of the most amazing footage ever. I mean, there's people laying roses at the feet of the police, at the UN people or whoever the hell they were, and other people crying and praying, and old ladies counting their rosaries. And it was, oh my God, the footage is just insane. And you could see people, it was regular folk who were totally upset. They couldn't understand that these other humans right across from them didn't understand what they were going through. Like it was stunning, man.
Yeah.
You know,
it was one of the most proudest things I ever did.
Yeah. And you know what? It made me realize those who were there and experienced it, the oppression, the tyranny, the assaults, I think it made us all realize we're a lot tougher and a lot stronger than we ever thought we were. And whatever fear we had, it dissipated in that moment because we realized we could deal with anything.
When you're on the right side, when you're on the side of truth, there's nothing in the world like it. You don't even need to do anything. It does it all for you.
Yeah.
You just put yourself in the way of it, and it tends to work out. So let's talk. We're kind of getting a little bit closer towards the end here, and I want to talk a little bit about what you guys got going on right now. I know you're both very busy, but give me something. Like where are you at? What are you doing? What are you busy with?
Well, I'm still doing the podcast with Chris Bleck called TFM Report. We started out calling ourselves the Fringe Minority or Fringe Majority, and then last May we rebranded to TFM Report. We're on Rumble and Looking Glass Media and Odyssey. So we do that Mondays and Thursday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern, and still doing interviews, still educating, still doing massive deep dives into the tyranny that is all around us. Still sitting in many different groups, strategizing and figuring out what our one common goal is, what does freedom mean to everybody, and what should Canada look like when we win, and how do we get that win? So still working on all of those. I've been asked to put together an event for March 9th with Stand United BC. So I'm doing that. And right after your show, I'm going over to What's Up Canada. Wayne Peters is doing an international podcast. I think he's still got one more after this Saturday night. With other activists around the world and doctors and some names that people will know from around the world, talking about what's next and what we can do and sort of little think tanks. So that's what I've been busy with and will continue to be busy with for now.
Whoa, Jody, you're doing some stuff, eh?
Bunch of stuff. There's a bunch I didn't list off either, but they're kind of boring for everybody else to hear about. Those are the more exciting things. So.
Well, I know you just came back from Parliament. You got into Parliament, and there was the reading of the thing, and
yeah, the petition E470, the vote of non-confidence. Melissa Outwater was the author of that. MP Michelle Ferrari, she sponsored it, and Michelle Ferrari invited Melissa Outwater to be her special guest, and Michelle invited Corey Sager and myself to be her special guest. So we got to be in the Parliament, in the House of Commons, when that historical moment went down, and we got to see all the Liberals get up and literally leave so that they didn't have to listen to the voices of Canadians. And that was a telling thing about our government. They don't care about your voice.
Yuck. All right, brother, you're up, man. I want to hear it. What's next? Give us something. Give us something that's like you've got. The problem with you is that I could literally do a 5-hour segment on you, and I've actually got another person in mind. I think I actually want to do something with you and Laura Hamilton, actually, because your understanding of the way language works and breaking it down into a kind of like philosophical thing is fascinating to me. How do you spend your time? What are you doing now? How can people get a hold of you? How can they help out what you're doing?
Well, I'm on many platforms. I'm pretty much on Facebook. I'm on any podcast that invites me. I'm not in this to profit. I'm in this to make change. I give shirts away. I've never sold one to nobody. Now, I understand that there's people that have to do it in order to function. I'm working as an independent. I'm doing it of my own. So I avoid all that part of it. So I keep my platform small on that in that regard. So, but anybody wants to reach me out on Facebook, it's reference the handle that's on here, the Selgovae Pecht. Since the convoy happened and before it, I've been actively tickling the dragon's tail at Bruce Power Nuclear Facility. And, you know, I'm in court over that and a federal human rights investigation. They're directly linked to the vaccination of the province and participation in it. Coincidentally, at the same time, they're marketing $33 billion isotope market for cancer treatments, almost with crystal like ball clarity. So yeah, I've been speaking about that out loud and getting beat up along the way, arguing in court from the position that I've already defined and explained to you. I was convicted. Turns out the judge's son is a director of my entire work department at Bruce Power, who's under an investigation in a parallel human rights investigation, which is absolutely. So there's a demonstration to further say, how did he get away with doing that apprehension of bias? It's not even apprehension, clear bias. 30% of the province's power is generated by Bruce Power. Bruce Power sells energy to the United States. The United States-Mexico trade deal kicks in on that one. Plus their license obligation. They've been denying human rights to people, and the unions have too, because they own shares. Therefore, they're unbiased. Nemo Judex and Casa Sua kicks in.
So how hold on a second. Hold on. No. That'll take another. I can't do it. I can't. It will be too much. I really want to bring it down to the people who are like regulars, man. The people who watch me aren't all that, okay? They're just like
you're asking me what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, man. That's what I've been doing all by myself.
Special. You're special. You're not like the rest of us.
I'm a special boy.
I love you, man. He gives the best hugs too. I'll tell you. Let me just tell you. You guys.
And I'm sorry. You know what? I'm a high energy guy. I'm alpha, so I admit it. I'm an Aries, right? March 25th. So I'm sorry if I overspeak. Jim, you know me. You know I've always been bad for that, but I love everybody.
Oh, dude. I'm that, and I am that. Don't worry, dude. We're the same thing. And the other one in the middle, she's a little different, but she's okay too. I found that her heart's in the right place. You know,
that energy is absolutely necessary. I never said that we are all one or the other process. What I'm suggesting is that people are not making wise choices, and the system itself is. It's gotten itself into a position where it needs us to be this stupid in order to continue as they are. They've become entitled in the position they've taken over us summarily.
So what are smart people doing today? I mean, are they buying silver? Are they buying gold? Are they what are the smart people doing today?
I think they're prepping. They're definitely buying precious metals and getting themselves ready and as much off the system as they can in a nice community that they can protect themselves with when shit really hits the fan.
Hey man, I sold my house. I got a little tiny house. That's all I'm saying. I ain't got much, but it can move, you know? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for joining us here tonight. I was wondering how it would go down. I know both of you from totally different backgrounds, but it was damn enjoyable. It's you know, I would go shoulder to shoulder with either of you guys anytime.
I feel the same way.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining me here this evening. I'm going to let you guys go, or you can stay, whatever you want to do. I'm going to continue to roll a little bit of footage. I'm going to roll up the volume here. Thank you again. Live from the shed, Dave. Yeah, buddy. We love you, man. You should come on the show.
I had to give him a shout out.
And is that the last time the Leafs won the cup?
When the last time the Leafs won the cup? Who knows, man? It's a toque. It's hiding bad hairdo.
No, what was the
shirt? This is the new shirt, Jim.
Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it a beer bottle or a bullet?
Pardon me?
Is it a beer bottle or a bullet?
You're breaking up.
Good night, fellas.
I had all those shirts made up. I had all the hockey shirts made up for the people that were with me at the arrest.
To this music. I do not own the rights to this music.
Take care, buddy.
I might end up muting you here. We get too close to the music for a little while. I think that would make sense.
Join us every night, 7
o'clock.
I think I'm gonna do that. Eastern Standard Time. We're reliving the convoy.
So it's gonna go quiet for a little bit while we're near the music. Because
if you weren't there and you want to know what it was like, come and talk to the different people who were actually there. You're going to learn some fascinating things. I'm telling you, I know some of the most interesting people, and I don't think it's because of me. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I love them all. I think they're amazing.
Okay, I'll let you hear a little bit.
Yeah,
I can't look. I gotta play. You know, they're gonna and you know what I think the algorithm is, ladies and gentlemen. If you're playing something like this, it can't be more. I'm getting tagged for if I have 30 seconds or more of music. That's when they get me. So I have to break it up.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the mic off now.
Oh, turn the mic up anyway.
I like to try to get their info if they want to share it. But some are doing their own thing, which I respect out here. So I may have to mute you again when I get up close, but. Hey, what's going on down there? Do you know? Do you know what's going on?
It looks like they might be doing an advance on us.
Yeah, there's a big line of police down there, right in front of those trucks. They look good, I'll tell you that much.
Morning.
Morning, how are you? Yeah, there's a lineup. I don't know what that is. We'll find out soon enough now, won't we? Now, this isn't the Shaw Center. This is, what are we on here? Rideau, coming up on William, it looks like. Rideau and William. You guys got any idea what's going on? No? Am I not allowed to go over there? Or?
No, you're not. You gotta stay on this side, sir.
What's that all about?
Just gotta stay on this side, sir.
Why is that? Can you let us know? A lot of people want to know why we got to be on this side of the street. There's newspaper reporters over there, though. See? Oh, those are favorable newspaper reporters? That different than us? Truth is the truth, you know? Truth is the truth.
Think about the future of your kids. Think about it. Let's have a process. I'm your kids. What do you do?
For whatever reason, they want to, they have embedded reporters and rifles and stuff. Wow, that's pretty wild. I don't know what the hell that is. For you weapon guys, check that out. Don't look friendly, whatever it is. Keeping me from. Let's go around and find out. Tell me I can't go there? Well, I'll go around the corner. Police lines are back there. They're not letting people walk past it. That's the Rideau Center. We're going to find out what's going on the other side here. We can't walk on free streets in Canada. Police home fee thing. That looks fancy.
Maybe in a little bit.
Definitely not right now. The guy said he was trying to get them dicks. Right now, sir. Yeah, definitely not now.
It'll be interesting watching the police go through all these peaceful protesters to see how they deal with them. They look like they're ready for force, but I can't see the peaceful protesters doing anything but laying on the ground or giving them hugs. So it'll be a really, really interesting interaction. As I've said before, I'm very thankful I live in a country where our law enforcement is not indiscriminate in the way that they use their force. I'm very, very thankful it allows for a measure of free press and freedom of expression. Maybe not enough for most, but well, this looks like the buildup. I don't think, you know what? I'm going to go look around and see what else is going on. It's pretty clear this is where they're staging a hell of a lot. This is at Rideau and William right now. And we're going to head to where we anticipate these guys are going so that we can kind of see them coming.
I know you guys want to watch more, but, you know, come on. We already gave you 15 more minutes and we agreed. We got tons of footage coming up, folks. I know that the police footage, always people like that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I prefer it not. But, you know, when I'm there, I got to film it. So thanks for joining us here tonight. I think it's an amazing thing that you guys keep showing up. We got to do what we got to do. We want to make things better. So if you've been there, if you've been to the Freedom Convoy and you'd like to interview with me, I'd love to have you on the show. I'd love to pick your brain. I'd love to find out what your story is. I think more people need to know what our brothers and sisters are up to.
It sounds like the big news agencies are getting ready, so clearly this is the thing. This is where they're going to go in. See the zip ties? That's how they restrain people. See, they use zip ties because they don't have enough handcuffs. Oh, by the way, if you get self-tightening handcuffs, it's not so good. Zip ties aren't so bad.
Show who you really are, right? This is Gestapo, Nazi Germany right here, right? Yeah. Look, assault rifles. There's kids in these towns, eh? You guys have children? How do you sleep at night?
Paychecks. That's how they sleep at night. They got paychecks. That's pretty fancy. That's probably a tear gas one, I think. Is that a tear gas one, do you know? Oh, well.
Wow.
I feel like I should go up and wait for them to come in. I'm going to trip around.
All of you.
I'd rather see my people than these people anyway. Suburban. Nice.